Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the CFL DFS for week number 7. So in this video, I'll be going over my sheet for the week. Obviously, the sheet will be updated in the coming days since, it's CFL. They pretty much have one game a day. So a lot of the injury news isn't out at this point in time. We have it for like the first 2 games, but going to be some things that we do monitor throughout the rest of the week. Going to go through each player that is notable and talk about whether I would play them in GPP, cash format, kind of a pay down option, cash game fillers, stuff like that. And then we'll go over DraftKings, and then I'll just tell you a little bit if I'll be overweight and underweight to guys on the field and kind of where I would be stacking in terms of stacking options for this week overall. But without further ado, we're going to start with that week 7 sheet. This will be up on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports. Obviously, will be updated as more news comes out, as well as the updated stats for DFS, CFL DFS through week number 6, which I don't remember if I mentioned last week or not, but I do have the averages per week there for each player as well. But we're going to start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Zach Collaros is $10,800. Do have him as a GPP option. Pretty solid play once again. He's one of the higher priced quarterbacks once again. So there is a little bit of, risk that you play there just with how much you're spending up for him, but still been a pretty consistent performer. In terms of running back, not really too interested in Brady Oliveira at $9,200. If you want to take a shot, is kind of a contrarian play at Greg McCray, you could do that. In terms of the wide receivers, probably getting to Nick Dominski and Drew Wolterziski the most at $9,600 and $9,400. Both are viable GPP options in my personal opinion. Not really getting a Dalton Shane at $12,200. Quite an expensive price tag there. If you want to get to a little bit of Rashid Bailey, would not have a problem with that. And then looks like Carlton Agudosi was cut this week. I said to monitor injury status for Jerry and Grant, but I do believe it looks like he'll be back this week. So he'll be doing the return duties most likely after missing last week with an ankle injury. And then I have the Blue Bombers defense list as a cash game option at $4,700. They are the most expensive defense, but they're going against Edmonton, who has yet to win a game this season and kind of not sure what they're doing at their quarterback position overall. Speaking at quarterback position for the Edmonton Elks, not interested in playing any of these guys at this point in time. Nobody from this group's really been too great, so not much to talk about there. They still don't really know who the guy's going to be at this point in time for at least the long-term rest of the season, at the very least. Kevin Brown, our running back, if you want to throw him out as a contrarian play at $7,800, you could go there and do that. Not really getting there myself personally. We still got Tanner Green. We still got Eugene Lewis on IR. They are in the 6-game IR, so we're not going to talk too much about them. In terms of the wide receiver position, not really getting to Dylan Mitchell. It really hasn't done too much so far this season. Then Stephen Dunbar, you can roll out as a GPP play. I like Kyron Moore as a GPP paydown option. Once again, same thing with Maurice French, but then the other guys, Maurice Forbes, Mobilo, Gavin Cobb, and CJ Sims, not really interested in getting there. That Elks defense pretty banged up at this point in time and hasn't been the greatest before that. So, and plus going against Winnipeg, kind of looking for Winnipeg to bounce back in a big way this week. So not really too interested in their defense. And we're going to get down to the Toronto Argonauts. And I will apologize, too, because some of this I don't have listed at this point in time. I'm typing in a couple things here and there. But I have Chad Kelly, $10,500. GPP option. He's probably a potential cash gameplay option as well because he does offer a very high-end upside. And if he plays anyway like he did last week, it's going to be a pretty strong play overall. From the running back room, you got AJ Allett here. He's a GPP option at $9,100. The rest of the guys, not too interested in at this point in time. The big thing for Toronto and these wide receivers is they use a lot of these guys, so it's really hard to guess who's going to stand out week to week. But so we got Giddens, we got Brissett, we got DeMonte Coxey, we got Devarius Daniels, we got Cam Phillips, we got David Unger III. So if you want to play one, stack him with Chad Kelly, go right ahead. I do have Brissett just listed as the pay down option just because he's $2,600. So could be an easy way to get there. Probably not going to get a lot of ownership going to him this week overall. And then that Toronto defense, I like them quite a bit at $4,600 GPP option. You could consider them maybe even a cash game play with Matthew Schlitz now out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So that is something that we'll mention there. So the Tiger Cats are all the way down to Taylor Powell. So could be a pretty good matchup for that Argonauts defense overall, which is a pretty good unit in its own right. Like I said, Matthew Schultz went on the IR. He's going to be out for at least the 6 games. And Bo Levi Mitchell doesn't look like he's back at this point in time yet, or not eligible to come back at this point in time yet. So we got Taylor Powell here. They got Kyle Loxley behind him, and then they signed Antonio Pipkin out of Tiffin this week. He's not listed on DraftKings. Not really interested in Powell this week. If you really want to go there and be a little bit contrarian, you could probably do it, but I'm not getting there myself personally. James Butler, $9,400 a running back. Strong GPP option, maybe even a cash game option this week. Probably going to lean a little bit more on that running game, especially since they're down to their third string quarterback. Tyreek McAllister, if you want to take a shot on him as kind of a contrarian big GPP field play, you could do that. Their wide receiver room, not too interested in too much this week. Tyler Turzewski is out due to an ankle injury. If you want to take a shot on Tim White, Duke Williams, any of these guys, you can pretty much do it. It's just a little bit more risky with Powell there. Price tags aren't super conducive to playing these guys this week, but somebody could really stand out in a big way. Then we move down to the Rough Riders. They are missing their own starting quarterback in Trevor Harris. He's been placed on IR. He is not out for the season, though, although he had a pretty bad injury. He had surgery already. Looks like Mason Fine will get the start at quarterback, $9,300. Don't mind him as a GPP option. Has a little bit of rushing upside. Pretty good career at North Texas. He's been around the CFL for a couple years now, so definitely do like him. They could lean a little bit more on their running game with Jamal Morrow, so he looks like a pretty strong GPP option, maybe even a cash game option as well. And then we just kind of keep moving down. I'm not sure exactly which wide receivers we want to play with Mason Fine, but if you want to take some shots on Sean Payne Jr., if you want to take some shots on Samuel Elmas, you want to take some shots on Tevin Jones, you can definitely do that. They're all pretty reasonably priced at this point in time, so definitely don't have any major concerns there. Tevin Jones probably would be my favorite, so I'm going to give him the GPP as we are talking through it. That Rough Riders defense, they are going against the BC Lions this week. Unless Vernon Adams Jr. goes out and throws a ton of picks once again, probably not going to be the greatest week for that Rough Riders defense, so probably not getting to them too much. Would mainly just be a contrarian play, if anything. At quarterback for BC, it's obviously Vernon Adams Jr., GPP option at this point in time. Maybe even a potential cash game option, just kind of has that good upside, but he is the most expensive quarterback at $11,400. Did note to watch out for Taquan Mazzell and LaFrance for their injury statuses. They were practicing in full the first day of practice this week, so no major concerns there. If they do get ruled out for whatever reason, Sean Shivers at $2,500 would become a cash game option if both of them do ultimately get ruled out, which I don't expect to be the case. Then for the wide receivers, we got Dominic Grimes kind of as a GPP option, $11,700. BC Lions have a great wide receiver room, though. So it could be him this week, could be Lucky Whitehead, could be Keon Hatcher, could be Javon Kotoy, could be Justin McGinnis. Really just depends on the week. Alexander Hollins. There's a lot of guys here that could really pay off. Keon Hatcher is kind of a potential cash game play. He's been really good since he's been back, $8,700. But like I said, there's so many good wide receivers in this room. So there is always the chance that one of them could not have that good day as we would expect. BC Lions have a decent defense at $4,300 GPP option going against the Rough Riders. Mason Fine, the backup quarterback in the start this week. I think Mason Fine will be fine in this game, but there is still some opportunities to be taken ahead and to be had in general. Moving down to the Ottawa Red Blacks, it's Dustin Crum getting the start once again. GPP option, maybe in a potential cash game option just due to his rushing upside. He has yet to throw a passing touchdown, though. Then at running back position, Devontae Williams did return last week. We got Jackson Bennett behind him, who didn't practice on Wednesday due to head injury. We'll keep an eye out on that one. And then moving down to those wide receivers, Nate Behar and Crum really had it going on last week. So Behar, I consider a GPP pay down, maybe even a cash game filler if you want to go there. And then we got Justin Hardy as a GPP option. Has had some pretty good chemistry with Crum so far this season. Not really too interested in any of the other wide receivers unless you want to get down to Siaosi Mariner as kind of a GPP pay down option at the flat minimum of $2,500. For their defense, the Ottawa Red Blacks, going against Calgary, if you want to get there, could be a GPP option at $3,900, maybe a little bit more of a contrarian option than anything at this point in time. Then we're going to keep moving down. Jake Mayer at quarterback, showed some life last week, probably more of a contrarian play. Not a bad price tag at $9,100, but not really getting myself there too much personally at this point in time. Dedrick Mills, their running back GPP option, maybe even a potential cash game play if they get back to running the ball once again, but he was limited on Wednesday due to a hip injury. Don't expect it to be anything major, but we'll keep an eye out on that throughout the week. If he's unable to go, Levante Bellamy or, William Langley is probably going to be a decent option in that case. Going to keep moving down here. So at wide receiver, Reggie Begelton at $8,400. GPP option if you want to go there. Once again, familiar name, so he's probably not going to draw the least amount of ownership, but does have some pretty decent upside, although I don't believe he scored a touchdown so far this season. And then we have Luther Hocken. I don't even want to say his last name once again. $3,300 GPP paydown option. Pretty strong week last week. Did not practice, on Wednesday due to an ankle injury. We'll see if he's ultimately ends up playing this week or not. I can't talk right now. Markel McKell at wide receiver, pay down option at $2,900. Tommy Lee Lewis didn't practice on Wednesday due to a back injury. Could be a little bit more involved this week if you want to throw him out as a contrarian option. Then we get the Stampeders defense, kind of a GPP option going against the Ottawa Red Blacks. We already seen that Dustin Crum has created some turnovers in his 2 weeks of playing quarterback. So that's kind of where I'm at just in general from the sheet. Obviously, a lot could change between now and some of the games starting. So definitely be sure to check up on that sheet throughout the week. If you have not done so already, be sure to sign up on patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports. You'll get the sheet. You'll get all the other data for CFL for this week. If you're into baseball DFS, be sure to check that out as well. But with that being said, going to get off this page. We're going to go over to DraftKings, and I'll tell you whether or not I'll be kind of overweight or underweight to guys on the field. Hard to project ownership once again for CFL DFS, but this is just kind of my guesstimate. So Vernon Adams Jr., I'll probably be in line, maybe slightly underweight to the field on. Zach Collaros probably be a little bit underweight to the field on. Chad Kelly, I'll probably ultimately end up being overweight to the field on. A little bit of Dustin Crum here and there. Mason Fine, maybe a little bit overweight to the field. Jake Mayer will be underweight to the field. And then everybody else not really getting to this week overall. At the running back position, James Butler, I'll be overweight to the field on once again. Dedrick Mills, probably overweight to the field on once again. Brady Oliveira, going to be underweight to the field on, probably not even getting to him at all this week. The only reason you would is the Edmonton Elks matchup, which is a pretty good matchup overall. AJ Alouette, probably in line with the field. Jamal Morrow, be overweight to the field on this week. Mizell, really just depends on if he plays or not, but probably in line to slightly underweight with the field and really not getting to Kevin Brown or Williams this week. Maybe a couple shares of McCray or McAllister here and there. But that's pretty much it at the running back position this week. If we get news that like Tyquan Mizell and LaFrance are both out once again, Sean Shivers would be an instant kind of lock at that point in time. Then we move over to wide receiver. Not really getting to Dalton Shane at all this week. Just $12,200, way too much. A little bit of Rhymes, probably in line with the field at this point in time. Maybe a little bit overweight. Tim White, I'll be underweight to the field on. Nick Nabinski, probably in line with the field. Maybe a little bit overweight. Gittins, I'll be underweight to the field on. Lucky Whitehead, I'll be underweight to the field on. Keon Hatcher, probably overweight to the field. Begelton, in line with the field. Ackland, I won't have once again, although he did have a little bit more of a week last week, but still not the greatest. Jones, I'll get to once again, probably overweight to the field, honestly. Hounds, I'll be underweight to the field. Daniels will be underweight to the field on. Duke Williams, maybe I'll be a little bit overweight to the field. I think it didn't work out last week. It really didn't. But they didn't throw the ball, 14 times. So there is opportunities to be had there. It's going against Toronto. It's probably going to be a shootout game. And otherwise, they're going to get blown out one or the other. So should be a pretty good matchup for him this week. So I'll have a little bit of Duke Williams. Probably run him out there as kind of a one-off for the Hamilton team. And then we got Justin Hardy. I'll probably be a little bit overweight to the field on. Sean Bain Jr., probably in line or underweight to the field. Drew Walter Ziski, he's a guy I'll probably ultimately be overweight to the field on. He's actually played really well so far this season. He's got probably the most touchdowns of any wide receiver at this point in time, if not tied for first. Haven't checked that one out myself. Stephen Dunbar, probably be in line with the field. Oh, I forgot Lawler Jr. signed too. He is with Winnipeg. So Kenny Lawler Jr. did sign with Winnipeg this week. So we'll see if he plays or not. Obviously, that's going to be a big deal there. But $6,000 for really not getting to them at that price tag. Cam Phillips, Mills, not getting to. Dylan Mitchell, probably not getting to. Trey Duke Odom, maybe a share here and there. DeMonte Coxey, not really getting to. Bailey, a share here and there. Not really getting into too many of these other guys. Maybe I'll go to Younger the third after the big week last week, going back to him, but it's kind of been an every other week thing for him. Nate Bahar, be overweight to the field on. Kyron Moore, overweight to the field on. Luther, I'll probably ultimately end up being underweight to the field on just because I feel like a lot of people will be chasing him after last week. Maurice French, probably be a little bit overweight to the field on. Marco Michel, I can't ever pronounce his name for whatever reason. Probably be a little bit overweight to the field on him, maybe a little bit overweight to the field on Brissett. A lot of cheap wide receivers here that are worth consideration this week. So that's kind of where I'm at just in general. Get to the defenses as well. So probably be overweight to the field on the Blue Bombers, maybe just a little bit overweight to the field on Toronto. Probably in line with this field on the BC Lions. Stampeders, maybe a little bit overweight to the field. Redwacks, maybe a little bit overweight to the field. And then everybody else probably not getting too much this week overall. So that's kind of where I'm at for CFL DFS for week number 7. If you guys have any specific questions whatsoever, feel free to drop them down in the comments and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Or you can always reach out to me on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and I'd be more than happy to help you. The CFL DFS has been pretty good so far. CFL betting has been really good to me so far as well. So hopefully it's the same case for you. But with that being said, that's really all that I do have at this point in time for CFL DFS picks for week number 7. As always, if you're joining me for the very first time, you enjoy the content that I'm putting out, please do subscribe. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly free to the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, it's MLB DFS. We got some CFL DFS going on as well, obviously, in this video. But with that being said, that's pretty much all that I do have. If you like the content, you find it informative, be sure to hit that like button. And be sure to you subscribe if you have not done so already. But with that being said, that's really all that I have at this point in time. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Try to make it as quick a video as possible. If you guys like a little bit more in depth, can do that as well. Just be sure to leave that down in the comments. But with that being said, that's really all that I have in this point in time. Hopefully each and every one of you have a great rest of your day for whatever day you end up watching this, and a good rest of your weekend. Some pretty good luck in CFL DFS this week, and it's going to be a pretty interesting one overall.